everyone, to PopCultX episode 61. Gabriel and Danny here every week with your pop culture news and roundup of everything pop culture happening in movies, music, books, comic books, everything from a Gen X point of view. So let's go ahead and get to it. Thank you for joining us. What's going on, Danny? What have you been up to?
Whew. Not much. Not much has changed since last week, I guess I should say. So last week I talked about Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus. Watched another episode of that, and because it's getting released weekly now, which is the method I prefer as opposed to the binge method that Netflix usually does. But I also did watch another episode of Stranger Things,
Nice.
which we talked about last week as well. And this episode titled "Dear Billy" was fantastic. It was directed by Sean Levy, which I don't know if that has any precursor to me liking it or not. Sean Levy from Free Guy, director of Adam Project. He's soon to direct Deadpool 3 with Ryan Reynolds, Night at the Museum creator. So I already was a fan of his work, but then I know he was executive producer on this season. So seeing him direct this episode, though, which is great. There's a scene in there. It's like a one-shot scene, so everything takes place in one shot. You know, those type of action sequences. Yeah. But it's really, 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 really well done. So I highly recommend, even if you don't go watch the whole series, go watch episode 4 called "Dear Billy," and this is the. You can kind of make sense of it all. I mean, yes, there is. I wouldn't call this a critique of mine, but there is a lot of different storylines happening all at once. So you have storyline A with all the kids back in the hometown of Hawkins, storyline B with the kids that moved out to California, storyline C with the mom and the friend going up to Alaska to pay a ransom for the other guy, storyline D is the demon or whatever. So a lot of different storylines, but I think you can make sense of it if you just watch it and just go into it with an open mind and enjoy it. And this is where the song "Running Up That Hill" is used. So and after watching this episode, I was like, now it makes sense why this song became so popular, because it's used in such a way that it makes people want to listen to it. It's really cool. Really well done. Sean Levy killed this episode. Go watch it. It's just fantastic. And just to go a little bit back on Obi-Wan, the Kenobi series, I think it was episode 3 was released, and wow, Darth Vader is very, very menacing in this episode.
Was that you getting into
Darth Vader. But it's cool. They did get James Earl Jones to do the voice of him, so that was really cool that they brought him back. And Hayden Christensen does make an appearance as Anakin Skywalker, so he does reprise that, and I'm sure we're going to see more of him as the last half of the series comes to an end, I guess, because there's only 6 episodes. So, but Vader is like the most villainous I've ever seen him in this episode. He walks through a town and just force kills people standing on the side.
Nice.
It's just like, wow, that's the kind of villain that people would be afraid of. Because, you see the other Star Wars movies and you're like, yeah, Vader, he's there, but he's not that bad of a guy. He's chokeholding some of his underlings who aren't listening to him. Yeah. But, he's not that bad. But seeing this, it's like, oh, that's why everyone's afraid of him. That's why, because he is very menacing. So another series to go watch, Obi-Wan, on Disney Plus. It's very good. I enjoy it. Ewan McGregor is doing a fantastic job. His wit as the lead character is just fantastic. And it's just, it's really fun. I'm enjoying it.
So I'm already have confessed to being like not interested in Star Wars. I know nothing about it, but I know at one point didn't Darth Vader have another son, or isn't that Kylo Ren?
No, Kylo Ren is Han Solo, Harrison Ford's character.
Oh, yeah. So what happened with him?
So Kylo Ren was, his name was Ben Solo at the time. He was studying to become a Jedi under Luke Skywalker, Leia's his uncle, right? So because Leia is Ben Solo's mom. So and then something happened. He was turned to the dark side. He ended up killing the whole Jedi camp of kids there, and they like to kill off the little Jedis in this series for some reason. But he turned to the dark side, and in episode 7, which is the latest beginning of the trilogy of that, the first, how do you call it? The first movie of the sequel trilogy, I guess. Yeah. Not the prequel trilogy or the original, but the sequel. He ended up killing his Harrison Ford Han Solo's character. So spoiler alert for you, because you hadn't seen that. That was one of the moments in movies that made me gasp. Because you don't expect a main character like that to be knifed down by his own son.
But doesn't Darth Vader get killed by Luke Skywalker?
Well, no. So at the end of the original trilogy in Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader is with Luke Skywalker and the Emperor on the newly rehashed Death Star. And the Emperor is basically, who was Darth Vader's mentor or whatever, who turned Anakin Skywalker to the dark side, Darth Vader. Yeah. He made him that. The Emperor was like electrocuting Luke Skywalker. So if you see the meme with like the old guy with blue lightning bolts coming out of his hands, that's the Emperor, and he's killing Luke Skywalker. In that brief moment at the end of that movie, Darth Vader makes a turn for the good, ends up picking up the Emperor and throwing him out of the Death Star. So he saves his son. And then, but he's already injured, so Luke takes off his helmet. There's a moment in there. Oh, Luke escapes, and Darth Vader dies. When the whole thing gets exploded.
The thing that's confusing to me is that the last movie was the future, right? With the new Jedi being the young woman.
Yes.
And Kylo Ren. And then now the series is before all that happens, right?
Yes. It takes place. There's a great website. I'll need to link it, that explains like the timeline, because it is a little bit confusing because jump back and especially for those who aren't interested in it that much or who are not as knowledgeable. I mean, even to someone, a fan like me, I'm still confused by it a little bit. Yeah. So I refer back to that because and this is what we talked about movies as canon, right? So there is the original, the prequel series, right? Those first 3 movies. Yeah. Then there is some animated series that take place in between. And then there's the original trilogy, which happens. And then there's a few other shows. And then there's the sequel trilogy. But this new series takes place in between the end of the prequel trilogy and the beginning of before the original trilogy. So it's right in that little gap right in there.
How can there be more than one trilogy?
It's Star Wars, man. It's Star Wars. Go watch them. Go watch them. I'll send you that website. You can go and you can follow an order, and you could be like, this sucks, or you could be like, where's my t-shirt?
Yeah, no. That's too much.
Okay, I will say this. If you do watch one movie, if you haven't watched any of them, but if you want to watch one, go watch they call it a Star Wars story. It's called Rogue One. Yeah. It is a great movie. It's with Diego Luna. He plays Andor, which actually they're making a series with him based on that character, of course, before that movie, because I won't give away the end of that movie, but he doesn't quite make it.
Why is it before? Like, it's so crazy.
Well, because he dies at the end of Rogue One.
Didn't they plan
so they can't. No, they didn't. I think what happened is they made the movie, and it's a great movie, but I don't think they planned for the popularity and success of his character. So it's, and the way Rogue One ties directly into the original Star Wars movie is just fantastic. So watch Rogue One. Just go watch Rogue One. That's it.
Okay, I'll try, but no promises here. Okay. I think you mentioned something coming out, and I wanted to mention that I saw the trailer, but now I can't think of what it was.
Andor?
No.
Ashoka? I think
you
it's
didn't start with Star Wars. You were talking about Stranger
Things. Uh-huh.
I don't know. It didn't have anything to do with Star Wars, but oh well. Yeah.
Well, there's another series that I think they're just teasing more now that it's getting closer to coming out. It's with Wednesday with Jenny Ortega. And
Yeah, that looks really cool.
I saw your tweet about Goth series and People of Colors.
Yeah.
So I think Jenny Ortega, Wednesday Addams, does she fall into that, or can she? What they call?
Yeah,
What they call it?
yeah. And well, because see, the thing is that it's really weird for me. Like, I think that with stereotypes of people, I just get so tired of it because like we rarely see like black nerds, or we rarely see like goth Mexicans or Chicanos or Mexican Americans, or I don't know, like they're or like geeky Asians that are not smart. That's what I really love about Awkwafina's character in Shang-Chi, is that she was sort of like the fuck up that didn't go to school. I'm like, that is reality. Like, it's not like every single, like, I appreciate that, like, they're trying to insert people of color into the dialogue, but like, show some of the people that aren't like the stereotypes. Like I know so many people that are into like rock or, goth or punk rock that are, Latinx or that are African American, but like you never see that in film. Yeah. And one of the things, and when in my tweet, what I said was like, I'm talking to you, Tim Burton, because he says like with his aesthetic, that's why he's never casted people of color, because it's like they're like gothy sort of whatever, and it's so annoying because you could easily find people that fit that aesthetic and look really cool in it. Yeah. And you don't have to have pale skin to be goth. Like you don't have to have white skin.
Although that's the I don't want to say the norm, but that's when people think goth, they think pale skin.
Well, that's like the stereotype. But like Dracula was not like a Viking. He wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? Like he had darker features.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like it just annoys me, especially Tim Burton, when I heard him say that. And the reason why that was even in my head today is that I saw that it's a rumor that he's going to be bringing Johnny Depp into the sequel of Beetlejuice. And
wait. Let me stop you. You said his name. So that's a strike against you.
It's so okay. I'm so like I don't want to see his face. I don't want to. Like, I just so am tired of it. And like the people online, like they're so weird. People that support him are so weird. I saw this thing that said they want Amber Heard to be replaced by his lawyer in Aquaman. What? He's not even an actress. Like, how does it even make sense? Like, the stuff is so stupid. It's so like, it's like it hasn't been linked, but I kind of feel like the same people that are like him and support him are also like MAGA, like QAnon supporters. Like, I feel like it's that same
sort of conspiracy theorist type of thing.
Same weirdos. And I saw today that Johnny Depp recently joined TikTok, and he's like 60. Why is he on TikTok? Like, it's so weird.
Brand awareness, man. Brand awareness.
He's going to be like releasing an album, and I'm like, who wants to hear his music? Like, literally no one has ever been interested in his music. He's tried to make that happen, and it hasn't happened. But now that he's like that, like a weirdo type celebrity like Trump that's like infamous, like he's going to capitalize on that. But like they're never really like cool or popular. They're always like infamous, and they make money off of the weirdos that support them. And that's going to be his thing now, right? Like he's going to.
That's a grifter, right? That's the definition of like a grifter, right?
It's so annoying. And the thing that like I would like to talk to someone who is a lawyer or a legal expert, because he lost the lawsuit in the UK, right?
Right.
And then he won this particular slander case in the United States. Well, that doesn't mean he's innocent, because he still lost the first trial, and that the second one wasn't related to the first, so it didn't like disprove the findings of the first one. So he's not, like, he wasn't really proven to be a great guy. So
right, absolutely.
Like, how does it work legally? Like, so because it wasn't found to be slanderous in the UK, could Amber Heard fly to the UK and like make statements, or then can he have her be accountable again in Virginia of like all the weird fucking states in the world?
I know.
Like that's so weird. Like, so I don't know. I don't know how that works, but it is kind of interesting, right? Because it's like
Right.
he lost one, he won one. Okay, so then it's even. Like it's not like he's not ahead.
So do we need a third round? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like
And winner takes all?
to like break up the tie. Like maybe they can go to like Canada and have a lawsuit in Canada
or Australia, one of the two. Yeah.
It's so weird. I just am so over it. Like I can't believe he's joining TikTok. Like that's weird. As a 60-year-old man, like weird. But anyway, just odd.
It is odd,
and that's what I remember now. The what movie I wanted to talk about is this weekend. The Jurassic Park new movie in that genre or movie world comes out. I am excited because I love dinosaurs. So like the dinosaur aspect of Jurassic Park always interested me and drew me to that world.
Right.
I'm glad to see the original cast is back because I really liked the original cast. And so I probably will go see it. Like I think it looks good.
Yeah.
There are some aspects of it that like I really find annoying. Like being able to outrun a dinosaur is like stupid. Like you can't do that. But
depends upon the dinosaur, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm still like I will suspend my disbelief so that I can just enjoy it and have popcorn and soda and relax in AC and like have fun or whatever. But there's a lot of moments like that in the like Jurassic Park movies that I'm like, really? Like they out jumped a velociraptor or like they outrun the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Okay, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for that movie as well. I just went back and watched the first 5 movies over the past week. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? It's coming out soon. I never saw part 3, Jurassic Park Part 3, which I finally watched.
Is that what like the kid, like the Jeff Goldblum has kids or something?
Well, yes, he has a kid, but that's part 2, The Lost World. The part 3 is with oh goodness, I can't think. No, he's in part 4, Jurassic World. So this is still Jurassic Park. It's with the guy from Shameful. I can't think of his name right now. William H. Macy.
Yes,
he's in it, and he plays a dad whose son gets lost on the island. So he hires Alan Grant to go help find him. And it was good. It wasn't as bad as people had said it was, at least to my eyes, because that's one of the reasons I never watched it. It got terrible reviews. People, killed it. It downplayed it. So I said, I won't waste my time. But I finally did, and it was good. I mean, if you like Jurassic Park, you'll like it. It has all the dinosaurs. They introduced the pterodactyls, so finally see a flying dinosaur in there. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this movie. And like you said, it's one of those movies you go into a theater with a tub of popcorn and just enjoy the ride. You don't think too much about it. You just spell belief for a little bit and you just enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I almost wish that they would make it more stupid. Then you could enjoy it from like an ironic, like point of view where it's like a really bad B movie, like Godzilla versus Mothra, like a monster movie or like a creature feature. But to take it seriously, but it be so stupid is what annoys me. Like the kids always do something annoying. Like the one where like they're in the little sphere and like older brothers with the younger brother, and the little brother has to be freaking annoying. And like there's I can guarantee that there's going to be a kid in this new one, and he'll be like, oh, I want to go see the T-Rex in the cage, and no one's paying attention to him. And then they're like, Billy disappeared. And we have to listen to Billy. And, Billy was looking for his teddy bear in the T-Rex cage or something stupid like that.
I think in this movie, the little Billy is in the cage, and T-Rex is the one looking for him.
Right. Like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then there was the one that was it like the like ultimate like gigantic T-Rex monster that they created that was like
the Indominus Rex, like, the cross between a T-Rex and like a Velociraptor or something like that. And then the evolution of it in part 5 is the Endoraptor, where they downsized it, made it into an even more monstrous killer thing. Yeah, it goes a little far when you get to the genetic side of it and the science part of it. But give me the original dinosaurs, as they're meant to be, and we'll see.
I want them to go like so far into like B movie that it's like they mix the genetics of a woman and a T-Rex and it's like Teresa Rex. And it's like the ultimate killing machine. It's half woman, half Tyrannosaurus Rex. And she has like little tiny arms. Like a big T-Rex mouth, but like she still wears lipstick.
Here's a Gen X. Did you ever watch that show Dinosaurs on ABC Family? I think.
Yeah.
ABC.
The one that was like not the baby or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Not the baby. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna need another Timmy. Yeah. That's just when you said lipstick on that, it reminded me of that.
Yeah. I tried going back and watching that, and I was like, "This is really bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't age well."
Exactly.
But I loved it at the time. Like, I don't remember how old I was, but I really loved it. I thought it was like the funniest thing ever.
Well, think back to that feeling you had when the first Jurassic Park came out. I think it was 1993. And it was like one of those first movies that really, I remember watching in the movie theater because it had the THX sound, right? So the THX trailer comes up, it blows you out of your mind, and then the whole movie, and especially when you feel, and I say feel, not hear, because with the bass, you feel the T-Rex footsteps, right?
Yeah, so that was great.
So I'm just looking forward to hopefully recapturing something like that, because that was just one of those movie moments for me. It was just like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah. It would be cool to have that feeling again. I have gone to one of those theaters where like the chairs move.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it was like the first, like the novelty of it for like the first, I don't know, 30 minutes. And then you start to guess like, oh, when that guy jumps, it's going to move. Or like you start to like anticipate so then it's not really as effective. But it was fun. I guess it was some movie about like some serial killer in a carnival and he's just like killing kids throughout the whole carnival. I forgot what it was called, but it was pretty good.
Okay, so it wasn't Nightmare Alley, right?
No, it wasn't. It was. I
know.
I think it was. I don't know. I don't remember what it was called. It actually wasn't that bad of a movie, but because it was just like, that like 80s Jason Nightmare on Elm Street type movie where it's like they're gonna kill a bunch of teenagers and you just enjoy them getting killed.
You just enjoy watching them die because they're annoying teenagers.
Yeah.
Speaking of annoying teenagers and watching them die, this Thursday or Friday, a new video game comes out for PlayStation 5 called The Quarry. So it's basically kind of like a slasher video game in a way. It's like a movie video game. So you take control of some of the actors in there. It's with starring David Arquette's going to be in it, and then some other actors. So it's really, I'm really looking forward to it because they have different filters you can put on it. So you can put a filter on it that makes it feel like a 1920s horror movie like Nosferatu or something like that. It's all black and white. You have a filter that makes it feel like a 70s horror movie or even an 80s slasher like Freddy or Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason type of movie. So I'm really looking forward to playing that. So that's coming out this week. I'm going to be getting that. That's going to take up a lot of my time. Video games have been taking up a lot of my time recently. Been playing a lot of them. But
yeah, I have not been playing video games, but in horror movie news, they also today, I think Neve Campbell made a statement saying that she's not going to be returning for Scream because guess what? You don't pay me. I'm not going to do the work. And I kind of applaud her for that because I think that more women have to do that and say, you know what, I know my worth. And once enough of them do that, then I think it will hurt the movie industry because, fans want to see Sidney Prescott in Scream. They don't want to see, some new ingenue or whatever. And so give her money. Like that's what she made that franchise. Like she's part of that history, along with, Kevin Williamson, I think is the director, or Williams, and Wes Craven being the original director. But give them they deserve just as much money as their male counterparts. And I also like that she made it public, that she made a public statement and was like, they weren't wanting to pay me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hopefully they'll renegotiate and they'll give her money, because I honestly don't want to see a Scream. And I think the one that she wasn't in, I didn't watch. The one that was before this, the most recent one. Because like, who cares? Like, it's like, you want the original cast. You want to see what happens to them. So
it's funny. I've only seen the original Scream, and then I think this most recent one.
Yeah.
That's it. So I bookended them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but there's more. So now you're going to be.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine them being able to make anything more interesting in that franchise. So, maybe it's a blessing for her not to be in it, because maybe it'll just be kind of horrible. I don't know if Courtney Cox is going to be in it, but I think that's like the only person that would be left, right? Because David Arquette's character's dead.
He's dead, yeah.
So it's just the two women. And it would be kind of cool, actually, to see Courtney Cox kind of stand in solidarity with her and say, hey, if she doesn't do it, I'm not going to do it either. And what are you going to do? Like, what's not going to happen? So
exactly.
And then Jamie Lee Curtis is like, I'll do it. I'll come back for Halloween in number 58.
Well, the Halloween Kills is coming out, right, with Jamie Lee Curtis, the final, allegedly, of that version of it. So they had original Halloween, and then the Halloween 2018 picked up from the original movie, and then the Halloween Kills, and then this next one, I think it's like Halloween Dead, or I don't know what the name of it is, but that's supposedly going to be the end of that movie. I don't want to ever call it the end of a movie franchise, because that's not the case. Yeah. But allegedly, with that director and that storyline, this is going to be the final in that trilogy. So I'm looking forward to that.
I would like for it to end, to be honest. Like, I think it would be really cool to make it just like an go all out, like pedal to the metal, like just do everything that you would want a fan to do, like carnage, killing, Jamie Lee Curtis just beats the shit out of Michael Myers, like whatever, and then just be done with it and be like, oh, that was so satisfying. Like, that was awesome.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
As opposed to some like the same old story, and then it like his hand comes out of the grave. And, like, we don't.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Like, respect the character and the like the legacy of it, and just like put a nail in it and let it stand in its final form and just be done with it. And don't do a remake until like the year 3000. If humans are even around. Can you imagine if they're still doing like remakes in like 2080?
That would be terrible. I mean, well, what's the saying, that all the plot lines ever were already written by Shakespeare and his team, right? So
yeah. So anyway, I did see a really great documentary that you have HBO, or no, this was on Amazon Plus. Okay. And so it was called, I want to say it's called The Wealth Generation, or Generation Wealth. Let me look it up, because it's really good.
I think it is Generation Wealth. I think I saw something like that.
Have you watched it?
No.
Okay, so
not.
It is Generation Wealth. It's a 2008 documentary, and it's basically about Lauren Greenfield, who is a photographer. She graduated Harvard and like immediately got hired by National Geographic. Went to go shoot, I think like a tribe in Mexico somewhere, and the work just didn't connect for her. So National Geographic pretty much just fired her. So she came back to LA, where she grew up. She grew up with in a private rich kids kind of environment. And so she went back and photographed like Kim Kardashian, Kate Hudson, like all these rich kids. And then it's like, since then she's kind of taken that perspective and documented more about wealth and our obsession, Americans, really the whole world obsession with wealth. And it went into like actors and porn stars and hedge fund managers. And she has followed these people, these characters, like over decades. So she revisits them after documenting them in like high school. And it's really interesting because there is a historian on there that talks about, how before the fall of any civilization, they reach like this pinnacle of like
Mm-hmm.
consumption,
Mm-hmm.
and we're at that now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and he's like, it's inevitable that we're going to just collapse. And you look at it and you're like, yeah, we are. This is not a positive outlook. Like,
No, it's not.
and you see like there's one person that she follows that um like she went to Brazil to get plastic surgery to feel better about herself, but like she's homeless because she couldn't afford it, but she spent this money on plastic
Oh, wow.
surgery and she's like living in her car. And it's really interesting, especially for a photographer and like anyone that's interested in photojournalism or documentaries. um she has a really good knack of being able to document
Oh,
these
wow.
types of people that are obsessed with wealth, and all the things that come from that, like obsession with sex as a commodity, looks, youth obsession, um, people that are anorexic because they want to look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really interesting. Lauren Greenfield is a great photographer, so check out her work if you haven't seen it. But I definitely recommend the documentary. It's really good. It's amazing. It's really eye opening.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah,
Generation Wealth.
yeah.
Add it
Operation
to my
Wealth is
list.
something else.
Operation Wealth.
But speaking of photography, I have been having a couple of shoots lately, and I've been trying to do like at least one shoot a week.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking before we came onto the show or onto our podcast to start recording, and we were talking about how do you spark that creativity process for yourself? Like, how do you go from maybe like your well being dry when it comes to your creative ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and you get someone that's like, hey, I want you to take my picture, let's do something really cool, and you're like, okay, let's cool. And what is your process like? And then I'll tell you about mine. But let's say you get someone that approaches you, and what is your process like to come up with an idea or to come up with something creative?
Well, I think I have a couple different ways. So actually, my main thing is what the client wants first. If they're
Right.
looking for something, if they have an idea in mind, then I try and take their idea and make it come true for them plus more. So always taking that into account. Now, if it's just something where I want to do something and just to get out of a creative rut,
Yeah.
or someone comes to me, hey, I like your work, let's create something. That's a little more tricky. I mean, I like to say I Google like images and stuff, but I don't do that. I like to say that I flip through magazines. Don't really do that. What inspires me really, it really gets my creative juices going, and this is also happens when I'm doing like location scouting, is I look at places throughout different times of the day. So even I'll go on like Google Maps and just do like street views of different locations throughout a city. That would be a cool place to photograph. And then just looking at the environment and the location and what it's there, what the story is telling in that place, that will start to burn creative juices for me. So I'll get an idea. Oh, look, that's cool geometric shapes of some like water break or some water reservoir or something. Just the shape of the wall there, or the building. A building has a very unique facade, so that will look cool with this in front of it. Just to juxtapose the different type of softness versus maybe the roughness of the building. So
Yeah.
locations really are what inspire me. I mean, it may sound weird, but that's what really gets my creative juices going, especially when I'm out and about throughout the day. I'll be driving around and I just see something out of the corner of my eye. Like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Then I have to brake hard so I don't crash. But it's just like seeing whether it's a person there or just something can just really spark creative juices for me. So that's my method, I guess, if you want to call it a method. How about you?
So very much the same in a way. I do go through magazines. I've actually kind of pulled back on my consumption of magazines because I used to buy, like dozens of magazines a month. Like I was really bad. I used to buy like tons of magazines, and and then just end up with like all these tons of magazines. I used to like rip out pictures that would inspire me. And then I'm like, but I have like hundreds of art books. So I'm like, why am I saving these? Like, I'm like, anyway. So, the new thing that, I mean, and it's not really new, but maybe new as far as I've never really discussed it, is one of the tools that I find that I'm using now is Instagram, and finding people that I find to be interesting, and people to shoot there, and being able to go through a catalog of images that they have curated. So something that they're obviously proud of, or they want to present to, outside world. And so you start to see, okay, like this is their vibe, like this is their aesthetic, this is their personality. You can look at their stories, you can see like, how they dress. And that's what kind of inspires me, is like looking at that and then like talking to the person, seeing, what we can kind of come up with. But really just kind of seeing their own images and seeing how they view themselves. Because
interesting.
Yeah, I think and the reason why I say that how they see themselves is like, because I don't want to force my perspective on them. I certainly I will coach and direct a photo subject a lot. But ultimately it is like trying to go along with like how they see themselves. Like I want to make them look, cool and confident. And one example is I shot someone recently that, by his own definition, he is not what you would call like a masculine presenting man, and he makes caftans. Like that's his business, and so he's a big guy, and so there is an interesting juxtaposition of the feminineness of his caftans and his garments that he creates with his outward appearance of, people would assume like he's a big burly guy. And so when we shot, it was like trying to bring out that feminine side of him, and really trying to show him that it was a safe environment where he could safely express that, where, I'm not going to smirk, I'm not going to like giggle, I'm going to celebrate that about him.
Right.
And really try to make him look his best within in that way, and like create really cool poses and angles, and make the garment look cool. And we also shot stuff in clothes that were very masculine presenting, and he posted one of them, and he was like, people are kind of shocked by the way he looks in those pictures, because he has like a baseball cap on and like a baseball shirt, and he was saying that like that's not really how he normally expresses himself. But I think that that's part of what's cool about photography, is that like it does make you realize that there's different facets to your personality, and that you can express yourself creatively as a photo subject and as photographer, and you can like pull those little aspects of yourself, and then like on the flip of a dime you can go a different route. So you could be doing something that's like really weird and like eccentric, and then all of a sudden do like a very conservative headshot, and do something that's really like kink or weird and sexual. And so those are kind of like, that's how I have fun, is like playing with people and seeing them kind of express themselves in different ways. And then, seeing them posted on social media is just fun for me, because then you get to see how their friends and family react to those images.
Yeah,
and,
true.
It's just fun. It's like it's almost like mini movie making in a way, I think. And I think I agree with that, because that's your kind of gig as well. And trying to not create characters because it is who they are, but just like amplify those aspects of their personality. So that's what I do. I try to get to know the person, kind of vibe and click with them within the first couple minutes of me meeting them, and then just kind of directing them there and be like, hey, this would be cool, let's try this. And they're like, one of the last people that I shot was like, we were on like this like wooden structure, and he's like, oh, I could probably climb that and like hang from that. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that would be cool. And so it's like, it's really about like creating this like really cool environment where like people are free to like express themselves and not worry that the photographer's judging them.
Right,
Because it
right.
is like a moment of like you're being judged because
Yeah.
they're saying like, oh no, like, suck in your stomach, or, and I try not to do that. If I'm shooting someone that someone is very physical and they work out a lot and that's part of their
Hmm.
gig, like they're wanting to show off their abs, then I will say like,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead and inhale, like hold, put some tension in your muscles.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like never like a person that is like a fashion person or someone who's not about working out. Because then I think that it's just weird, and it's kind of like body shaming. Um,
What do
but yeah,
you do? So you find a subject that you like, you find and you make interaction with them, and you guys agree to do a photo shoot or a photo session,
yeah.
however you want to label it. Um, how do you? What's your process of determining a location for that? Do you base it on what their style is, base it on what they're vibing for, or is it? Do you have like a notion already in the back of your head when you started talking to them? Hey, they would be cool at site A or site B.
Yeah, I do have that. I have my spots that I've shot like a lot of people in. So for example, Balboa Park in San Diego,
Of
or
course. Hmm.
North Park, or
Hmm.
Hillcrest, like they all have their own little vibe. Downtown San Diego. So yeah, I definitely do know like what person fits with what. But because I'm so much about like the person's personality and like getting to know them, uh, I kind of like am in a sense like we will make whatever works in that environment work.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I will find a way to bring out like something grimy, even though we're in the middle of a beautiful park. Like I will find that spot that is like kind of like grungy, grimy, like it will make you look like you're in like a dingy alley in like New York, but
Right.
it's in the
Right.
park. And that's another thing that's like really fun about that. But I like finding places that are like that, that have, you can find little nooks and crannies where like it could look very expensive and posh, or it could look very like grungy and gross,
Right. Right.
or it can look very like nature, flowers, plants, and stuff like that. So that's why I love Balboa Park. But I also do love urban environments like North Park, downtown San Diego, like especially stuff that's like decaying or broken down. I just like the textures of like buildings that have brick, concrete, graffiti, like paper that's been posted, like tears. I like the depth
Yeah.
to buildings that have like been around for a long and have like worn like down and been weathered.
Right. Where the buildings
Yeah,
have stories themselves. Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I tend to do the opposite in a way. So, like I said, when I bank a lot of locations in my head, and then I try to find people that would be completely opposite or to what that location's offering. So like I'll find a very soft lavender field or something, and I want to throw someone who's very punk in there,
yeah,
just to mix it up because they don't belong. And it's just, why are they there? And then you can dive into that story of, okay, why are they in this location? And I like to mix it up like that most of the time. I mean, sometimes you don't need to. The person themselves in a plain backdrop is just going to be enough of a story. So yeah.
yeah, definitely. Well, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. I think that it's important for people who are creative, whether it be like artists, filmmakers, musicians, like to talk about that process, because I think that creative people put a lot of pressure on themselves
Oh
to be
yeah.
like, oh God, why am I must I haven't written this great pop song, I haven't written this great novel yet. And it's like, just like do it. I was interviewed by someone out of the UK on Saturday.
Oh nice.
He has a YouTube channel called William and the Magical Box, and I'm losing my train of thought because I'm Gen X.
William and the Magical
And
Box interview
no,
UK
and so, oh, that's so annoying. Why am I old?
Saturday.
And so we were talking about like the creative process, and Damn it. What was I was trying to come up with how people beat themselves up about the creative process. Oh, he asked me, what advice would I give to someone who's trying to get into the field of photography? And I told him, just do it. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry about expensive equipment. Don't worry about your camera, your lens. If you have to use like your dad's old camera from like, I was going to say the 70s, but now people's dad's cameras are from like 2000.
2000.
Yeah. If you have to use a camera from 2015, do it. Or if you have to use like your iPhone or your Android, they have really capable cameras on these phones now. And for me, from my perspective, the most important thing is for you just to start shooting, because that's how you're going to develop your eye.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to spark your creativity. And because the more experiences you have, like you said, you have those memory banks of like, oh, that location is cool. Okay, I'm gonna like keep that in the back of my head. Or like, remember when I did like that designer's clothes, and that would work really cool if I have, this punk rock singer who would match those clothes. Or, and you just start to like those gears start to go.
Yeah.
And you just have to go out and do it. Like,
yeah, I agree.
And I think that you have to forget about all the pressure that you put on yourself. And I read something recently about this photographer by the name of Vivian Mayer, who had a lifetime of taking pictures and genius work, great street photographer, like amazing. And the thing about her is that she enjoyed the process of photography, and she enjoyed the things that she shot for herself.
Right.
She didn't shoot for other people. She didn't show other people her work. No one even knew that she was shooting these pictures. Like, it was discovered long after she was long gone. And on the one hand, you could think, oh, how sad and depressing. Like, her work was never discovered during her lifetime. But then on the other hand, I'm thinking she shot with like no limitations. She wasn't worried about anyone criticizing her work. She wasn't worried about anyone having to sell it for it to be commercial. She just went out and shot whatever the hell she liked. And that is honestly the most important thing, right? Like, it would be great to be able to like get a commercial gig that pays like six figures. But at the end of the day, like, for your own happiness as an artist, like the very first thing you have to do is do the work that makes you happy. Because otherwise you're going to get stuck in a situation where you're doing something that you hate, and it's going to be a job. And then if it's your job like that, like in the sense of you're forced to being doing it, you might also be like selling shoes.
Yeah.
You might also be like selling a widget, because you're going to be stuck doing something that you're not passionate about, even though it's within that same genre of something you love, like being a musician or being a painter. But if you're like doing caricatures at Universal Studios and that's not what you enjoy, you might as well be stuck, flipping burgers. So
I wish I could draw so I could do caricatures, because then you get to make fun of people all day long and they're going to pay you for it.
Their face, right?
Yeah, exactly.
that is definitely an interesting dynamic that, like, I wonder how many times those caricature artists get like punched in the face. Like, why'd you make me have a lazy eye? I don't have a lazy eye. Oh, sir, you do.
I'm over here.
Yeah.
I have a lazy eye, or at least that's what they told me, so I can make fun of it.
Do you?
They said, I don't know. First they thought it was the eye that looks like a football shape or something. I don't remember. But then they said, oh, you have a lazy eye. I'm like, thanks. I'm supposed to be wearing glasses, but I don't.
Huh.
I can see fine, but maybe one day. I'm supposed to be wearing glasses when I use a computer. So, and most of my time is in front of a computer. Go figure.
You're such a rebel.
Yes.
I actually read there's a lot of famous people that do have there's a scientific term for like lazy eye, but like Heidi Klum has a lazy eye. They're actually, because I'm a fan of Project Runway, there'll be times when you see like, and her eyes are like it'll quickly like go like that and come back, and it's kind of cool because you're like, wow, she's been scrutinized. I'm sure there have been photographers and agents and people that like rip her apart, but she was able to make a career based off of how she looks, and that didn't hold her back. But like, I think another one is Kate Moss has that same thing. I think Grace Jones Paris Hilton. There's like a lot of famous people where
Wow,
like
that is quite a few. Yeah.
And they haven't fixed it. They're just like, this is who I am. So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Well, this is who I am, world.
Yeah.
Lazy eye and everything.
His football eye.
I almost said it's a stigmata, but I don't think that's right. I'm not like being nailed to a cross. It's
Stigmatism.
Stigmatism. I think that is it. Yeah.
No.
But whatever. I'm not an optometrist, and yeah, I can still see. Speaking of seeing, and this, well, I'll end it on this. So I started reading Old Man Hawkeye comic book. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. So Clint Barton, Hawkeye, is going blind in this series. So I thought that was interesting, just to tie it into the pop culture, into the optometry world that we were just talking about. It's really interesting. So it's set in that same universe as Logan, the movie Logan set in. So I was picturing that, doing some like fan casting. I would love to see like Jeff Bridges in that role with longer white hair. So it was just, it's a really fun series. So like Bullseye's in it with his like Android eye. So it's really interesting. I haven't finished it up, but I'm really enjoying that.
I just want to see like a scene where Hawkeye is, like maybe getting drunk and like crying about, the despair of losing his eyesight. And like Daredevil comes in and was like, really fucking cry me a river. Cry me a river.
Matt Murdock's like, really? Going blind? Come on.
Yeah. Oh, how horrible.
And then Clint Barton's like, yeah, give me some radioactive and just pour it on me so I can see like you do. Come on.
Yeah. Is that his origin story? I honestly never even know Daredevil's origin story.
So Daredevil, his origin story, he pushed an old man, a speeding oncoming truck was coming with carrying some nuclear waste or some radioactive somewhere. He pushed an old man to safety. Then he got hit by the truck. It crashed. The ooze spilled onto him, blinded him, but also heightened his other senses.
Nice.
So he sees like an echo, type of
sonar
thing. Yes, sonar. I saw Morbius, speaking of echo stuff.
Oh.
I finally watched Morbius. It was not as terrible as people make it out to be. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I didn't really know much of Morbius going into it, other than he was a vampire, so to speak. Now I know why they called him a living vampire. I know so I thought, as far as origin story go, it was really well done because it told everything. The special effects for his vampiric movements were really cool. It's what I expect to see and read in a comic book. You see the flashes of the streaming of his stuff. I enjoyed it. It was good. Jared Leto is pretty good in it. Matt Smith as his main rival or enemy in there was pretty good. So it was fun. Like I said, I went into it not knowing much and not expecting much, but I liked it. I mean, I like the fact that they mention or they bring up the San Francisco incident, which we know what that is in that universe, which is of course Venom. Yeah, so I thought it was really fun.
Oh, where did you watch it on?
My brother-in-law bought it, so I was able to watch it from him.
Oh, I thought maybe it was on streaming service already.
Not yet. Not yet. Soon, probably, but yeah.
I'll have to wait because I'm not buying it, but...
Maybe that was good. I didn't have to pay for it, so maybe that's why I enjoyed it more.
Yeah. There is a certain aspect of that to movie watching, is that... Because it seems like if I'm watching a movie on Sunday afternoon on like, Amazon Plus, it's like from the 80s. My expectations of that film are so low that I'm like, I'll watch anything. But if I'm paying for something and going to the theater, like it better be good.
Exactly.
Like it better really wow me. So I guess the ad, that's why I think why so many people like the streaming services, because it's like you're paying a monthly fee, but like you can watch anything. You're like, it was good. It killed like 2 hours, whatever. Yeah. Especially during the pandemic when you had nothing else to do. So
exactly. Right on.
Nice. So I think we're at the end of our podcast for this week.
Our little journey.
Next week we'll talk about the new Jurassic Park because I'm sure I'll go see it this weekend. I am actually going to go see Christina Aguilera in LA on Saturday. So updates on that. Hopefully that's really good and she'll sing her little heart out. So yeah, so that's what the updates for me will be next week, and we can go from there. Hopefully, some explosive things happen in pop culture between now and next week, so we can bring you some hard hitting pop culture news.
Sounds good. Thank you everyone for tuning in, for liking, for sharing, for following. Hit us in the comment field. Let us know how, if you're a creative type, what you do to get your creative juices flowing. We would like to hear other people's outlook on that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.
Stay safe, everyone.